Hi everyone, welcome to A Stitch in Time. Today is Thursday, December 19th, 2024, and this is episode 300. Yes, I did it. That was one of my goals, was to get up to 300 episodes by the end of the year. My name is Carol. I am known as Knits and Pearls on Ravelry, and I live east of Vancouver in the Fraser Valley of British Columbia, Canada, where it is dark and gloomy today. So I thought I would set up here in the living room in front of the Christmas tree, and I even dragged out my ring light to make sure we had decent light for this episode. I hope you're all doing well and that you've had a good week since we last spoke. There's been lots going on here, but not so much that I haven't been able to get some crafting in. So I do have a few things to show you, including a finished project that has been 7 years in the making. Yay! Another big accomplishment for this year. Before I do that though, I just want to remind you that the make-alongs in the Ravelry group are coming to a close on December 31st, so make sure you get all your projects finished up and posted, and then I will be drawing for prizes in the first regular episode of 2025. Next year there will be another really casual year-long chatter thread focused on using our pattern, yarn, and fiber stash. I am not planning to do prizes for that, but you never know. Throughout the year, I might just randomly decide to draw a winner for a pattern prize. So I hope you'll join me there. And also don't forget there is a What Are You Making, I think is the name of the thread. So if you have other projects that don't fit into that stash category, go ahead and post those there so everyone can see what you're making. All right, are you ready? I finished The Longest Night Shawl by Lori Law of Ocean Wind Knits. I used to work with Lori years ago at a yarn shop, and then she moved back to Ontario and began her yarn dyeing business. I guess she was just starting that before she moved. Anyway, I did it. I made sure to wear something dark for this segment so that you could see all the beautiful lace motifs. And I will bring it in a little bit closer in a minute to show you. Why don't I scooch it up though and just show you the bottom, because that's where all the true beauty is. This is knit from some merino silk lace from Woolly Wonka fibers. Oops. Woolly Wonka fibers. And this is the solstice colorway, and I was really hoping to get this done by this year's solstice. I cast it on back in 2017 on the solstice, and I've worked on it off and on since then, often in December for a little while. And when I pulled it out this year, I thought, wouldn't it be neat to finally finish it? So as I explained before, I knew I did not have enough yarn to complete the shawl as written. It calls for 150 grams. There was only 145 grams on here, so I knew it was going to be tight. I thought I was going to have to skip one chart. As it turned out, now I did not do a gauge swatch, so chances are my gauge is larger than it was supposed to be. When I pulled it out this year and weighed what I had left over, I determined that I did not have enough to do another repeat of I think it's the 4th chart, might be the 3rd chart, I can't remember, but it's the snowflakes. I thought I was going to do another repeat of that, and then the snowflakes to angels chart, or snowflakes to snow angels chart, which is the final one. But when I did a few rows and I was weighing how much it took, and I knew it was going to be either just enough or not enough, and I decided that I was just going to go ahead, move on to the last chart, and I ended up with about 25 grams left over, which I'm not sure would have been enough to do that next chart. Plus you'll see this shawl is plenty big enough, and so I'm really happy with that decision. So beautiful, beautiful yarn. And I will now show this to you in greater detail. So the first charts are swirling snow. And it's a top-down triangular shawl. So you're increasing down the spine of the shawl and also along each edge on every right side row. For most of the shawl, it's a just lace on one side, but when you get down to the last chart, you have to do some lace both on the right sides and wrong sides. I'm gonna have to cover my face because there's just no way to get this all on screen. So I just show you the bottom here. So you can see the snowflakes there, and then that last section is the snow angels. It is so light and airy, just and huge. It's about 7 feet from tip to tip, and I never did measure the middle, but it's got to be 4 feet anyway. It's big. I can't imagine it being any longer. So it turned out to be just the right size. Isn't that beautiful? Now this was not without its adventures. I was on I think the last pattern row, and I don't know if the phone rang or something. I got up off the couch to go do something, and then I was halfway across the room and realized that my foot had caught in the yarn and dragged the whole shawl off the couch with me, and I ended up having, I think, 10 or 12 stitches at least come off the needles, and some had raveled down several rows. It took me all morning to fix it. I did not have to tink back row by row. I was able to sort of make sure that everything on either side of that area was okay, and then I meticulously kind of picked down and reconstructed it. And I don't know if I got it perfect, but it's definitely good enough. I couldn't see any glaring errors when I pinned it out. What I did, however, discover as I was pinning it out is that when I was casting off, I must have slipped a stitch off the needle, because right at one of these points, it was starting to unravel. And so I was able to catch the stitch and use a crochet hook to kind of just ladder down, pick up those stitches, and I put a stitch marker in the last one. And when I took it off the blocking mats, I took some yarn and caught it in, and I don't even know, I guess it's on this side. I think if I looked, I could be able to tell you which one it was. Oh, you know what? It's this one because I just saw a little yarn tail. And it's not quite as pointy because of having to do the work after I took it off. But I mean, it is almost invisible. I did end up, it's supposed to end with a right side row. I decided to do one more wrong side row because I had plenty of yarn. And then I used, instead of the method that was described in the pattern, I used Jenny's surprisingly stretchy bind off. And I think it gave the bottom a nice finish. So there's one last look. Now I was gonna go change. I had a different sweater I was going to wear, kind of a silver sparkly one. I thought it would be really festive, but you know what? Instead, I'm just going to put on my shawl. and wear it. I don't know, I'm gonna try to be fancy, but I'm not very fancy when it comes to wearing shawls. So I'm just gonna drape it here around my shoulder, or shoulders. I do have two. All right, I have another wintry work in progress called the Winter Wonderland socks. It's a pattern by Abby Marshall Smith, who is from Devon with Love. And I've shown these to you for a few weeks. They are my December personal sock yarn club socks. And they are knit from West Yorkshire Spinner's Signature 4-ply Sparkle in the Silent Night colorway. And then I had some Fildar Preface, which is just a sock yarn, wool nylon sock yarn. And this is color 10, which is Blanc, which is white in French. And I've just dropped a ball of the Silent Night on the floor. So when I went on Ravelry just to see, dropping everything. When I went on Ravelry just to see how this yarn knit up, I came across this pattern and I fell in love with it, and I thought, that's what I'm gonna do. So you are given various charts, and you can put them together to form your scene however you like. They will all work side by side with each other. And so what I decided to do is do the same scene on both socks, but I knit one extra round of the leg before doing the heel, so that I would have on the front of my legs the whole scene all together. And I really like how that looks. So I have now added traditional heel flap. I did the Eye of Partridge heel just to give it a little bit something extra. And I have just finished the gusset on both pairs. I forgot to bring sock blockers, so I can't put them on the sock blockers to show you. But I'll bring this in a little bit closer so you can see the pattern and the yarn, and I think you can see the sparkle in the yarn. I think that's what really makes this special, just makes it look like a real winter wonderland, which is what it's supposed to look like. There's the heels. Maybe what I'll do is just slide the needles down, and then you can see how the socks look from the sides. Now, another reason I decided to do an extra half round on one of them is that way you can see a little jog. This is where the rounds meet, and I can put those to the insides of my legs on both socks, and that will be on the outside. Not that anyone is ever looking at my feet that closely, but I just like to do that. And then once I wash and block these, this color work will smooth out a little bit too. But I'm super happy with how these are coming along. I should have no trouble finishing them by the end of the month. I know I mentioned last episode we've got couple different car trips coming up, and that will help. I'm just gonna bend down and pick up this ball that's fallen, and at the same time I can pick up my next project. So I have continued to work on What Tomorrow Brings by Stephanie Lotvin, who is Telly Bean Knits. And sorry, I'm just looking where to put things. This was a pattern that was written for the Suburban Stitcher Advent collection 2 or 3 years ago. And when I started opening up my Miss Marple Advent by Bluebird Yarns, I really loved the colors, and I thought that they would be perfect for this pattern. And so I have knit 14 sections so far. So obviously I'm a little bit behind, but I didn't start it till 5 days into December, and I did do a little bit of knitting and unknitting. So I'm going to show you from day one. So this is day one here, 2, 3. I think I showed you this last episode. So you can see you're alternating between a patterned panel and garter stitch. This one is called Miss Marple, this colorway. Now, I have a confession to make. I went in color order, and I did knit these last 2 sections with the colors in the proper order, but I didn't like them. This is color 12. I think I showed this to you last episode. I think I might even have been just ready. Maybe I just opened it that day or something. I remember talking about it because it was called the Blue Geranium. So I did do that here. But because all the rest, other than that center, are quite soft colors, I felt like it was out of place. So in the end, I decided to take it out, reknit that section with color 13, which I think actually shows off the pattern better anyway. Finished it with 14. And then I'm using color 12, or I used it. I'm all finished this next one for the first row of the next part of the shawl. So the first part, you create this triangle, has a nice I-cord edge on both edges. So once you've gone tip to tip, then you pick up along the edge of this I-cord. Gives a really nice finish. And you start working a V-shaped shawl along the pointy part of the triangle. So this is the first section of that. And it also alternates between a patterned panel and a garter panel. So that's all going well and fine. The part where I run into a little bit of a hiccup is, I'll show you the picture again of the finished shawl as it was knit for the sample. Now you'll see that the outer border looks to be the same color, but it's not. You do an applied border on one side with 3 yarns that are gradients. Gradiating, is that the right word? Gradiating shades of pink. And then you carry on across the other side of the shawl with several other pale pinks. And from a distance, it gives the impression of the border being all one color. Now I have 2 problems. One problem is that I don't know for sure, but I suspect, because I haven't opened packages 20 to 24 yet, so I suspect that those colors, while they may complement each other, like these all have, there's always been, opening these in order, there's always been something in the next days that relates back to the day before. So this one has a little bit of purpley pink, so this one has the pink. There's some pink tones in here, then you move to the peachy and the goldy colors. So they all do flow well into each other, but I think I'm going to end up with something that's more patchworky. So there's a couple of things I'm thinking of. One is to just continue along these sides in stripes as the next 5 are going to be. Or else I cheated and I went ahead and I opened my day 25 skein. I don't know of anyone else who has this collection, but if you do, you might want to look away for just the next minute while I show you day 25. And then I will put it down so that I won't spoil anything for you. This is day 25. Beautiful, isn't it? And I thought I might be able to use it to do the whole border. If I do that, I've put it away now, if you were looking away. If I do that, what I will probably do is just continue to use the colors up to 24 as I was describing. And then just do those borders with day 25 skein, or I might end up, doing all the days and then deciding it's big enough. So it's going to be a modification of the original design, but it'll have the spirit of it, and definitely loving how this is all working up. So you'll notice I do still have all my ends hanging off. I am planning to remedy that. I'm also a little bit nervous because I know that the mini skeins that I have are not as large as the mini skeins that were dyed for Suburban Stitcher. So I know even if I were to follow the pattern as written, that there are, I think it's in the last section, that it requires more yarn than I have. So that's also been a consideration for me. But yeah, I'm going to continue along. It's really hard to see. I'm sorry because it is on this needle, but you can see where it is a V there. So very happy. So the next color that I have to put in, I just wound it up today. Let me find it here. Day 15. Oh, and the little tag is over on the table. I can't remember what it is, but that's the next color that's going in. And then I took a picture with this all the way to day 19 lined up in the mini skeins, so you can get an idea of what's coming next. So these have been, again, spoiler alert if you don't want to see those. Look away right now, count to 5, and then you can look again. Oh, actually, I guess it's not a spoiler alert because it is day 19. So I'm assuming you've opened it. I just realized. Cut that part. Anyway, loving it, loving it, loving it. So I kind of tidied things up last night because it was a real mess in this basket. But now I've got them all in order, and I've got, once I finish with the color, it goes back in its bag. And eventually I will cut these and weave in the ends. I'm really glad I did not end up cutting them though, because I did, as I mentioned, take out and rework these sections. And so it was a good thing that I hadn't cut the yarn. So that is continuing to bring me a lot of pleasure this Advent. I am going to go warm up my tea because it's kind of lukewarm, and then I'll come back and I'll talk to you about spinning. I decided, since I was pausing the camera anyway, that I would go ahead and change into my festive sweater. I haven't done FO pictures for my shawl yet. I don't really want it to get too crumpled before I do that. So I've been continuing to work on the Fibernyth Dye Works BFL, mixed BFL spinning set in the A Legacy colorway this week. So I have finished spinning 3 more colors. I have plied 1 of those, and I'm now on the 6th out of 7 colors. So as a refresher, here are colors 1 and 2, and I'm doing a chain ply I was very pleased with my second one. It was definitely an improvement on my first, but I have to say I'm not happy with my third. Here's the color. So it is, I think it's royal blue. Yeah, royal blue. So we've got eggplant, dark navy, and royal blue. So this sadly is really overspun. It doesn't lie nice and flat. I mean, some areas are fine, but there are others that are just like really over twisted. To see if I can find, I have to say, since I washed it, I soaked it and let it dry, and then I soaked it again, and since I've hung it back up to dry, like, it has definitely lost a lot of energy, because when I hung this up to dry, it was like twisted like that. So it is relaxing, but it is still not as nice. Like here's a perfect example. See how overspun that is? How much spring is in there? But it is what it is. I can't undo it. And it's a 3-ply, so I specially, or it's a chain ply, so it's not like I can unspin it or anything like that. But you know, it is what it is. Learning experience. When I have it all knitted up in something, you know, it won't be quite as obvious, I don't think. And if it is, oh well, it is. So there are the 3 colors together. And then I have spun up the next 2. I just haven't applied them yet. So that's the next one in the progression. I can't hold them all at once. And then there's the next one in the progression. I am currently working on this gorgeous Kelly green. And then I just have this, I think it's called acid green or something, to go. So I'll show you the greens together in order. So fun, fun, fun. Now I can't even blame the over twisting on, or the extra twist in this one on not letting it rest long enough, because these singles rested for days. It was just my plying, and I think I just had it probably too tight a tension, I think is what happened. So hopefully I've had these resting for a couple days now, and I'll spin, maybe I'll have a chance to ply them up tonight. That would be fun. And actually no, I want to finish, I've got this on the wheel right now, so I want to finish this bobbin first. Then I will apply these up in the next day or 2, or maybe next week. It's hard to say, and hopefully they won't be quite as twisted. Anyway, this has been a really fun spinning project. I, as I've mentioned before, had expected to be spinning my Fiber Nymph Dye Works holiday collection, but it's stuck in the mail somewhere. Canada Post did get ordered back to work. Hooray. I say hooray with some reservation. I wish that they had come to a resolution with their negotiations, but they were ordered back to work. And I don't know, I wish the process had worked. But on the other hand, I'm happy to see that mail is going to be moving again. I've checked, as of this morning, my last information for my fiber is that it was on its way to Canada back in, I think it was mid-November, 14th or 15th, something like that. So it has not entered the Canadian Postal Service yet, or at least it hasn't been recorded as such that I can check for tracking. But I think we got a first piece of mail today, which was a TV Week for the week of, like, third week of November. So not much use to us now. I don't even know why we still get those, because honestly, I'll read a few of the articles and then I never look at it. I don't watch much TV, and I think I just like, doesn't cost very much in a month, and I just like to keep on top of sort of what's going on in general, even though I don't really watch it. Anyway, it's encouraging that mail will be, or is starting to flow again. So I guess that brings us to what's been happening this past week. In crafty news, I sewed a project bag for our daughter-in-law, and inside is some yarn that I bought in Amsterdam as a Christmas gift. So I'm just putting it under the tree with a tag, just like that. I figured it's a bag. I don't really need to wrap a bag in another bag or something. So I had bought this fabric a few years ago, and I'm not sure how many of these bags ready to go. I did all the handles, which is my least favorite part, and all of the pieces are sewn together. The pockets are put in, and they're all different combination of fabrics. So all I had to do was sew this to the lining fabric, sew them up on each side, do the bottoms, and do the drawstring channels there. So it did not take me very long to finish that up. But that will go back under the tree for her, and everything else is bought and wrapped, at least from my point of view. I don't know if Cameron's getting me anything. He sort of said the other day, oh, I haven't got you anything yet, and it's like, that's okay. Actually, what I really want for Christmas is a new pair of curling shoes, because mine are wearing out inside at the back of the heels. So I'm sure he'll pick up a couple little things for me. So I told him, okay, I want to be finished with wrapping by tonight, because all the stuff is in the spare bedroom upstairs here, and I am doing a whole house clean tomorrow because we are going to go get my mom early Saturday morning, and then life is really busy after that. So I kind of want to be ready to go by tomorrow night. So hopefully he'll do that, and then tomorrow is house cleaning day. I also need to make meatballs for his store potluck lunch. Now, he used to work out of this store years ago. That's where his sales office was, I think. I'm trying to think now. Yeah, I think he was a salesperson here. Yeah, he was, before he became regional. But even when he was a regional, he worked out of this store before they built another store where his office moved to. Sorry, for those of you who are new, my husband's just stepped down from a management role and is back working in a store close to where we live. And anyway, I've been making these meatballs. I've shown them on Vlogmas a few times in the past, and they are so popular. And now, like, every year, even when he wasn't working here anymore, and even if he wasn't able to make the potluck lunch, I would end up making these meatballs for this store. So now, legit, he's there, and that's what I need to do. So that's tomorrow morning. I need to make those, and he'll come and pick them up and take them down there. So one day I won't have to ever make those again, but I don't mind. It's nice. We were just at his work Christmas party on Saturday night, and a couple of people mentioned them, so they're very popular. So yeah, we did that Saturday night. Friday night we had dinner over at a friend's place, them and another couple. I think I mentioned that last episode, that it was kind of a spur of the moment invitation, and it happened to work out. I think the invitation came like last Tuesday or something. And it worked out for that Friday for all 6 of us. And we just had such a lovely catch up. These 2 couples, I just love them so much. We all get along so well. They live in the same city, so they see each other more often. But we had just such a nice time. Very late night, as always. I think we finally climbed into bed. I think it was 2:30. And then another late night with the Christmas party the next night. So yeah, lots of fun, but not a lot of sleep. And then on Monday night we had curling. We just played 4 ends and then had appies, went upstairs, had appies and drinks with the other team. And then Tuesday was my last Tuesday morning ladies curling until the new year. And so we had fun 4 ends, and it was this one team, they've organized it the last couple of years. They do a really great job. So they mix up the teams. So you're playing with people that you don't normally play with, and some people are playing positions that they've never played before. And then once you finish your end, you open an envelope and it tells you how to score. And it has very little to do with the actual score. So I think the first end was we had to add up how many pieces of jewelry we all were wearing, and whichever team was wearing the most pieces of jewelry got 2 points. The next end, I think, was well, one of them, I don't know if it was the next end. One end was we had to add up all our ages, and whoever had the most years won. The last end I know was, instead of the rocks that were in the house counting, it's whatever rocks were right in front of the house, whoever had the most, which we did. And then, I know, the other one was add up all the pets you have. So 3 out of 4 of us had 0 pets, but the lady we were curling with had something like 8 or 9, and so we won that. So we ended up winning the whole thing. Oh, I should have brought my funny glasses out here. I won, you could choose from like an ornament, or there were these funny Christmas glasses. I picked those up because I thought that would be fun on Christmas with our granddaughter especially. I'm sure we'll get a kick out of them. So yeah, that's been my week. Something good. This past summer, my sisters and I went up to the cabin for a weekend sleepover. And one day we went into my mom's place. She lives about 10 miles, 17 kilometers from the cabin. And so we went to her place for the afternoon, and then brought her back out to the cabin with us. And she had taken out all her Christmas ornaments, all her Christmas things, and we went around and chose what we might like. And so this year, I'd kind of forgotten about it. I was partway through decorating the tree, and then I remembered that I had all these a lot of them are like vintage ornaments, and some are from growing up, and some are just in a similar style. She got some from this guy who was moving and getting rid of a lot of things. And then some were just ornaments that she herself owned, that she acquired after, like as we were adults, after we'd left home. And so we got to choose some of those too. So I thought what I would do is just take my camera and show you a few of those. So we'll start on the side of the tree with this really cute reindeer ornament. It's Rudolph, of course, because when you're a kid, every reindeer is Rudolph. Remember that very much from growing up. Next to it is this beautiful metal present that my mom was given at some point. My granddaughter was quite taken with it, so I think I'm going to give that to her one day. I also got this hummingbird that belonged to my mom and added it to my hummingbird collection. I have several hummingbird ornaments. Moving down the tree, here is one of a number of kind of vintagey ornaments that I picked up from that gentleman I was talking about. They're just so different from anything I own myself or owned myself already. Here's another one from my childhood. We had a few of these birds, so it's cool to have one for myself. Here's another of those vintage ornaments. This one might have been from our house, I can't remember. There were a lot that this man had that were similar to ones that we had when I was growing up. So I'm gonna move you around to the front of the tree. I have very strong memories and a lot of fondness for these red icicle-shaped ornaments. We had probably 6 or 8 growing up, and I now very happy to say I have 2 of them. Those were definitely adult-only ornaments, meaning that only mom or dad could hang them up. Us kids weren't allowed to touch them because they were too breakable. Here's another beautiful hummingbird ornament that I acquired from my mom. Isn't that gorgeous? We had several of these glass balls growing up, and then this one is really special. Always loved these little houses, and now I have one for myself. Another one that I remember fondly is this little flocked pine cone. There's the other red icicle next to one of the Christmas baubles I made last year. And then you can see in the background that cone, that used to belong to my grandma. So that's another special one. I don't know about you, but I love Christmas tree ornaments. Finally, I am going to show you a Victorian choir that I got from my mom. So it's a whole family. There's the little boy. There's mom alongside my granddaughter when she was a baby. There's dad next to the hummingbird. And finally, there's the little girl. So these are ornaments that my mom acquired after I grew up. But I just love them, and I'm so happy to have them for myself now. And another memory from childhood is this glass bell. So here's a look at our tree from top to bottom, since I can't get it all in one frame. So I hope you enjoyed looking at some of those new to me ornaments. All right, that is it for 2024. Thanks so much for being there, especially this year. I feel like I haven't been very present, especially in the Ravelry group this year. And I just so appreciate all of you who keep showing up and watching and commenting and participating in the make-alongs. I'm really hoping to be a little bit more active in the Ravelry group next year. As you know, if you've been watching, we're kind of in a transition period. There's been lots of things going on and a lot of travel this year too. So it just has not been a typical year. So I will be back again with an episode. I'm hoping, I don't know if it'll be the first week of January or the 2nd, but in the new year in any case. And perhaps even a special episode where I'll kind of review my projects from 2024 and talk about what's up for 2025. So wishing you and your families a very, very happy holiday season and a happy and successful and healthy new year. And I will see you in 2025. Thanks so much for watching.